So, folks, the other day, car uh, stopped in the middle of the road. Yeah, this old lady stopped in the middle of the road, and that was on Saturday. Correct? Yeah, that was Saturday, and he had to tow it back home, back to the house. Toyota never really fails on you. I mean, they really never, as a matter of fact, they rarely. I shouldn't say never. They rarely actually, I break down on you in the middle of the road. But it happened to me, so it was quite a lesson. But we got it towed to the house so I can figure out what exactly the problem is. And so here, got the car key over here. Let's just give it a shot. Plug it in there to the starter. It's in the start. Try ignite it. Nothing. It lights up. I mean, the light comes up. But when you start it, when you crank it up, nothing comes up. So, so it's like it's not starting, right? Nothing. Crank it. Nothing. No starter. So you probably think it's a battery problem, but if the lights are coming up, it's a bit daytime, so but until the lights are up, so obviously it's not so much of a battery issue. Maybe a starter problem. Okay, well, you're gonna have to diagnose all of that and see what the problem is. Okay, so let's take it off from the ignition and then head towards the hood. See what we can find. I got this tool over here. Got a tester over here. I even have a jumper here. So it's a battery. I got my battery charger here or a booster here. So let's try and see if we can use the Genius battery booster to see if we can boost it up. So first, positive. Get a really good grip. And then last, negative. Get a good grip on a negative charge. And then let's crank this bad boy up. So turn it on. Okay, so it's on. The light it's giving ignitions or sparks. Let's go turn ignition on again and see. So we know our jumper, the battery isn't a problem. Okay, so this is supposed to jump the battery if in case the battery was very low. Okay, let's go back in there. Okay, so let's start it again. Key back in the keyhole. Ignite it. Still nothing. Whoa. So obviously it's not a battery problem. Because we have a jumper on it and it's still not kicking. Nothing. Quite silent, dead. Everything lights up, but nothing. Okay, so now let's go test the battery itself. Okay, so I have a multimeter here. I got a multimeter somewhere to check the voltage on the battery, just to be sure. So I got all kinds of tools here, testers, just to make sure we're on um, the right place, or so the right procedure or process of testing some of these things. So we're gonna test it with a multimeter to see the voltage on the batteries actually popping up. So to take it off, negative first, positive last. The reverse process. So this is not a problem, obviously. Shut it off, put it away. So we know for a fact it's not a battery problem because even the jumper doesn't work. Okay, so now let's go use the multimeter to get that. Okay, so the multimeter, I'm gonna have to be crazy to do this. It's just me, so it's gonna be really, so positive, negative. Negative first. So let me try to plant this somewhere where I can easily get a get narrative on this issue here. So negative on. This is gonna be tricky. Okay, I'm gonna have to hold this since it's just me, and then you grab the positive. First of all, you want to turn on the motor meter to battery test. It's 12 volts, and you want to see if you can get a 12 volt out of it. See, you're getting 12 volts. You're getting about 12 volts. So the battery is good. So obviously it's not a battery problem. Okay, off. This side just negligible. But if you plug it back, see, nothing. Or high voltages, which is wrong. Put it on it. Look at that. It comes back to your 12 volts. 12 volts. It's fluctuating because there's no good contact on the negative side, but eventually it should just click to. There you go. See that? 12 volts. Okay, so it's not a battery problem. Okay, so we've concluded on that. Maybe a starter. If it's a starter problem, turn off your multimeter. And I got this tool over here. It's supposed to be another kind of meter. So 12 volt LED digital battery tester. What you do is you hook it up. Negative. Oops. And then positive. So you notice it says battery is medium and it's okay. And also tells you whether your alternator is faulty or not. So we don't have any red lights, meaning the alternator is working fine. So your alternator right here is working fine because there's no light on there. There's no fault light on the alternator state. Battery is just medium, but you still get the 12 volt required to power up the engine, and it says it's okay. So this is ruled out. The battery is ruled out as a problem. Alternator is ruled as a problem either. Oh, so it's also ruled out as a problem too. Now in essence, the starter, because that's what we have problems with. This is the starter down here. So what I did was I took it apart and I tested it earlier on, and it was working fine too. There was no problem. It was cranking up. What you do is just take the battery off completely. My phone ran out of storage space, so I had to go back up the previous images and footages that I have on the phone. So okay, so we concluded that it wasn't a battery problem. So it wasn't a battery problem because we tested that out, and it wasn't a battery problem. We also concluded that it wasn't an alternator problem because there was no fault on the alternator tester. And then I said earlier when I took out the starter, which is down here, I took it apart and I was able to test it out to make sure it wasn't the starter either, you know. And that has also been ruled out. So it's not a starter problem, it's not an alternator problem, and it's not a battery problem either. So now the next stage is to look at the fuses. Now the cool thing about being a technical guy is that you learn to troubleshoot stuff from the bottom up approach. In this case, the bottom up will be the physical level or the physical electronic level of the car within the hood. So that's the physical layer, which is your term the layer one. So once you got the layer one component, the key layer one component covered up, then you can move on to the electrical parts within the layer one as well. So that's one of the cool things I like about being a technical guy or a handy guy. Since we understand how things are built and made, I've done a lot of reading and a lot of research on them, so I get a pretty good knowledge. I'm pretty bit knowledgeable in the basic configuration of basic build of some of these systems and engines and what have you that I've been troubleshooting. So like I said, it's the physical layer that's the key part. If you can address the key physical layers, you can just start moving on. So from the bottom of approach of troubleshooting, we've cleared the key components at the physical layer or layer one. So and the next level is the electrical layers. So these are electrical fuses that manages your car, electrical components. Got a whole lot of fuses. So this is a fuse box for my Toyota Matrix, a 2004 Toyota Matrix. This is where you find them. It's right next to the battery actually. Okay. So now to test the fuses to make sure the fuse is not what the cause, or it's not the cause of the problem, you get one of these testers. So one of these testers, it's kind of like a screwdriver, a pointed screwdriver with an alligator clip, which needs to be grounded. The alligator clip here is used to ground the tester, and then you use the tip of the screwdriver to test the fuses. Okay, so we're going to test the fuses to make sure it's not a fuse problem. Sometimes when the fuse blows up, then you're going to have problems starting your engine as well. Okay, so yeah, the fuse are a key component of the engine's electrical unit. So let's go ahead and try to troubleshoot the fuses. The first thing is you want to put the alligator clip on the negative side of the battery. So I'm going to hook it up to the negative end, so get a pretty good ground, and then you just have the tip of the tester. Okay, so this is a fuse tester. So let's go ahead and test this fuses. Now the fuse you want to focus on is a 30 amp fuse, which is the main fuse that handles more or less most of the key electrical components within the hood. And this is right here, this green one right here. It's a 30 amps fuse. So if it's 30 amp rating, 30. So to test it, obviously it's grounded. You want to make sure it's grounded, and then you start testing. And you also put the key on the on position. You have to be on the on state, so you can at least have some current flowing through the system before you do testing. So now if we test the fuses, it has two ends. There are two pins. If you know, there are two little pins are there, one over here, one over there. You want to test both of them by just touching the end of the screw tester on those pins, and if it lights up, it tells you the fuse is good. So let's go ahead and do that. So I keep an eye on that. See, it lights up. So this fuse is good. Now you want to make sure both ends are good. So if one end is good, let's test the other end. And it's good too. So the main fuse is pretty much good. So obviously it's not a fuse inside this component which is bad. Everything over here seems to be good. Okay, so the next stage is to go and test the fuses inside the car itself. Okay, so we're gonna go right there and then see what the issue is over there. Are we good? So let's close this part. So like I said, we've ruled out the next layers within the troubleshooting process. Okay, and that's the fuse component. And obviously we notice that our main fuse that powers the electrical components within the car is working fine. So we can rule the fuse out, or the fuse box out, currently, because we tested the main fuse and it was working just fine on both pins. Okay, so now let's move on to the inside part and see what we can find. Maybe it's coming from the inside instead. Okay, all right. Okay, so now we come into the inside fuses, which is the passenger fuse box. It's right underneath the steering wheel, and it's at the bottom down there. You have to go all the way down, so your pedals, your brake, and your accelerator, and you have to go underneath it. And you see a fuse box down there. It's a bit dark over there, so I got a torch light to see if you guys can see it. I think I have opened it up. Is it open? Here, that's it right there. So those are the fuses, and we want to test the ignition fuse, which is the blue one you see over there. The lights blue. From there, can you see? You can get the lights in place. Okay, there you go. So this one right here is the let's see, this one here, that blue one, the first dot right there. What I'm touching here is the ignition fuse. Okay, within the passenger compartment. Okay, so we want to test this one here. If it doesn't light up, then that is the culprit. Then that could be the problem why the car basically stopped or crapped out on us on the road the other day. Okay, so we're about to do this. All right, folks, let's keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully this will be the problem. If not, then we got a bigger problem to solve. Then from that point on, I think my knowledge base is going to be a bit limited. But let's see. I'm hoping and praying that is the problem, because that is the next layer within the physical layer of troubleshooting that you have to focus on within the electrical aspect of the car design. And since this electrical issue we're trying to deal with, this is practically the last point, because there are no other. There's another fuse on the other side, on the other side, but it's not the most important keys. Fuses are right up here. Okay, folks. So let's hope this is the problem. Okay. All right. So let me get my tools. The same tester. Okay. So we'll get the tester again. So we get the same tester again, the fuse tester. Oh boy, it's tangled up in here. Let's see if you can get it out. Okay. All right. So now you want to ground this, and to ground it, you can use any of the metals connected to the pedals. So I'm going to use one of this, because these are all grounded. This metal here underneath the brake pedal, is grounded. So that is grounded. Alright, you see it? So it's grounded to a metal. So that's your negative or your neutral. And then we just, it's a tight spot. So you gotta be very, very careful. It's not that easy. It's not, I mean, it's not comfortable, but it's doable. So let's see. So here's my tester. And like I said, I'm looking at the touch light is keeps going up, keeps falling. Okay. All right, folks. Moment of truth. So like I said, we're looking at that blue one, right? Okay. So let's see if you notice. Let's see. Okay. I'm testing it, and there's no light. See, there's nothing on one end. Let's try the other end. One end lights up. So this is the culprit, folks. See, one end lights up, see the light, but the second end doesn't light up, so it's short. See, folks, I was praying this would be the problem, and I think we found it. We found the culprit, folks. This right here ignition switch is a bad boy. Got us stuck in the middle of the road. Huh? Okay, so we have to replace this. All right, let me get the tool for replacing it. And I think I have a whole bunch of spares that we can use. Okay, 1 second. Let me get the box off. And I'll be right back. I think it's right over here. Okay, so these are the fuses. These are my fuse collections. And we're looking for the blue one. So I have one over here. We're looking for the lights blue one, the 15 amp, sorry. It's a 15 amp fuse. Keep on, they're all rated, so you want to use the right one. The one over there is 15 amp. In the hood is 30 amp for the main, kind of like an AC fuse. You know, an AC breaker, you need a 32, at least 32 amp breaker for your AC. So that's a huge amount of current. So that's why you put the 30 amp in the hood of the car for the fuse. Underneath the passenger component or the driver's side, you need a 15 amp, which is half of it. To basically handle the ignitions that comes through from the key and then other electrical components. So we got a 30 amp over here. So you got a whole bunch of amps over here. So they color coded. So it says 15 amp. So we need a 15 amp. So that's 15 amp. It's a blue one right there. 15 amps, yeah? 12 pieces of them. So it's this right here. So let's get one of those. And we're gonna replace that one. So this is what we need to replace that old one that's burnt out. It's just short up because the reason why one end is powering up and the other end is not powering up is because there's a breakage or there's a short within the metal wiring. So there's no current flowing through the two pins. That's why one end powers, but the other end doesn't power. So you're gonna have obviously a short. Okay. All right. So let's take this and then see what we can do with the replacement. Okay. So we got this. That's a good one, right? All right. We need the remover, the fuse remover. Which is right here. This white stuff. It's actually in the hood. I took it out earlier. So we're gonna put it back after we're done. So that's the fuse remover, folks. It's a white component. It's embedded in all the fuse boxes in the hood of any car. So you can see, so you can be able to remove clips or replace the clips. Sorry, fuses as and when they shorted. Okay. All right. great. So now let's go remove the bad. Let's go remove the bad fuse, and then try to put in the new one. Okay, so let's get we got a fuse remover, and then we want to remove that 15 amp fuse. That is short. So it's ready. So that's it right there. Just put the clip in the middle and it locks in place, and then you yank it out. Oh, we got it, folks. So this is the bad fuse. Okay. Okay, so let's take it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. Sorry, I mean it's uncomfortable. So here we go. We got the bad fuse. Let's put it right here. Let's set it right over here. So that's the bad one, and this is the good one. And let me show you. So it's rated, obviously, you get 15 amp rating on it. 15, can zoom in. Can y'all see the 15? Let's see if we can get it closer. Let's see. It's a bit. See right there, that's 15 amp. So that's how you know it's a 15 amp switch, or the rating of the fuse. Okay, so this is a good one. Now let's pick it up. The same approach. Get it inside the clip. Okay, so we go back up. Back down, sorry. And then put it right back where it's supposed to be. Okay. So that's right there. Okay. Push it in there. It's in place now. Great. Alright, so now let's test it again. Let's test the good one and see if it works. So you know the differences when it comes to a bad fuse and a good fuse. So the bad one, only one of the pins worked, right? But let's see the good one. See? It's light up. So one end lights up. The second end, let's try second end. Second also lights up. So that's a good fuse. So you want to get both pins lighting up, so there's basically no short. Okay, so once again, the first one, the first pin, see it lights up, see the light. And then let's switch to the second pin. It's off now, second pin lights up. So that's a good fuse. There are no short. The fuse is not short, so that's good. All right. So now that we got that, let's try to see if the car will start now. Okay. All right. Moment of truth, folks. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Okay, so now if you notice, it was an on. The key was an on state, so I can do the testing. Notice that. Okay, I'm gonna take it back to lock. And let's crank it out. You guys ready? Folks, you ready? Ooh, I'm praying so hard that this should be the solution to my problem. You ready? About to crank it up. Oh my God, it kicked. Holy mother of Christ. So that was the bad boy. We solved the problem, folks. It's an amateur. An amateur engineer, an amateur, auto mechanic, or just a handyman. Solved another problem once again. Let's turn it off. It's off. Let's crank it back up again. Oh, we got a good stuff, folks. Oh my goodness. So, Pops, this was the bad boy. This was the bad guy that basically left us in the middle of the road the other day. This was a corporate. Huh? You got us stuck in the middle of the road the other day. I gotta figure out why it's short though, because sometimes when this happens, you have to figure out what the issue is. Fees are not supposed to be shortened by itself like that. If this is short, there's got to be a reason. So you have to figure out what the problem is and try to troubleshoot it, or else it will short again. Okay. Anyways, so Pops, this is the corporate, and as usual, I gotta sort it out. Okay. The handyman to the rescue. All right, folks.